13.8 is heavily focused around champion changes, as there are 16 of them locked in. The one item change is pretty massive though, as Cosmic Drive will be getting another alteration. With the help of our challenger players and analyzing the most recent data, we are set to bring you guys a complete update on the solo queue meta for patch 13.8. But before we get into it, be sure to check out skillcapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Kicking things off with the Cosmic Drive changes, we are going to be seeing its ability power increased from 90 to 100. A new passive will be added, replacing the old one, where dealing damage generates a stack of 2.5% movement speed every 1.5 seconds for the next 5 seconds, up to a max of 10% movement speed at 4 stacks. At max stacks, you will gain an additional 10% movement speed, so 20% in total. These changes are going to open things up for Cosmic Drive to be way more viable on a wide array of champions. With the old passive, you had to burn 3 separate attacks to proc its passive, so the item was rather mediocre on burst champions. One thing we have to keep in mind here though is that the item is now super movement speed heavy, as you won't be gaining the bonus ability power when at max stacks of the passive. 20% movement speed is pretty nuts though, and for these shorter range mages that need to be spacing immaculately in fights like Ryze and Cassiopeia, they should be loving these alterations. Gwen is another one to watch for sure, as her kiting potential will be crazy. For picks like Vlad and Sylas, we're leaning more towards this new Cosmic Drive being less favorable for them. Since Sylas already has great mobility from W and E, he would rather have the added AP from old Cosmic than the move speed from new Cosmic. We will be sure to keep you guys updated in the coming patches if any new champs pop up that are super good with Cosmic Drive. After decimating the top lane meta for multiple patches in a row, we finally have a round of Malphite nerfs. W first auto attack base damage is going from 30 scaling to 90 to 30 scaling to 70. W cleave armor ratio is also down from 20 to 15%. 2 nerfs that aim to lessen the power of W max Malphite, which has been his highest win rate spell to max in previous patches. To be fair though, Q max Malphite is still completely viable as well. It's just that W max was insanely broken. If you're going for Q max now, this change is extremely insignificant, so overall we can't see Malphite falling out of meta as a result of these nerfs. Malphite was the lone OP pick on the top lane tier list for 13.7, so with this nerf, we'll be leaving him there, but adjusting a few champions up who will be on the same level as him now. Garen has been a pretty weak top lane performer in recent patches, so a few minor buffs are headed his way. Base AD is going from 66 to 69. Base armor is up as well from 36 to 38. Nothing too over the top here, but a couple of nice buffs that will solidify Garen as a good A tier top laner. One very underrated top laner who doesn't necessarily need buffs but is likely receiving them because Riot wants people to know the champ still exists is Poppy. Q percent health damage is going from 8 to 9%. W bonus resistances are being increased from 10 to 12%. Poppy does extremely well in meta against highly picked champs like Jace, Jax, Riven, and Fiora, so don't be sleeping on her in 13.8. The fact Poppy actually has solid matchups right now, combined with these buffs, lead us to pushing Poppy into the top lane S tier for 13.8. Having a look at the complete top lane tier list, we have Malphite, Pantheon, and Shen as the 3 OP carries. As we mentioned earlier, despite the Malphite nerfs, he will remain a great top lane pick, just not miles ahead of everyone else, hence the movement of Pantheon and Shen into OP. Panth is an extremely strong pick for both top and mid, so if you're someone who queues for both roles, maining Panth is insanely good right now. If you're a Gwen player, definitely look into Cosmic Drive for 13.8. The added movement speed will be pretty ridiculous for a champion that deals as much consistent DPS as Gwen. The best top laners to climb low elo the fastest are Yorick, Malphite, and Nasus. Fiora, Darius, and Malphite are 3 of the most optimal top lane bans. Kha'Zix's changes from last patch undershot in the eyes of Riot, so he will be getting a buff in 13.8. Q damage will be increased by 10 at all ranks. Not a super massive buff, but one that we see being enough to give Kha'Zix the nudge up into S tier. A couple of Lilia buffs are on the way, with her monster damage cap going from 50 scaling to 150 to 70 scaling to 150. Monster healing is up as well, from 24 scaling to 75 to 39 scaling to 54. AP ratio is going from 5 to 15%. Champion healing is also being adjusted from 6 scaling to 120 to 6 scaling to 90, with the AP ratio going from 18 to 30%. In combination with these direct buffs, it will be really interesting to see how the new Cosmic Drive fits in on Lilia. Lilia already gains a ton of move speed from hitting her spells, so add on Cosmic Drive and the slipperiness of the champ will be ludicrous. All in all, these buffs are not overly impactful, but Lilia will be slotting in as a good A-tier jungle pick in 13.8. A few base stat buffs are lined up for Nidalee, with her base armor going from 28 to 32, while her armor growth is up from 4.7 7 to 5. 4 base armor is actually not that bad and will definitely help Nidalee stay a bit healthier throughout her clear and in skirmishes. Definitely a buff that will impact high elo more significantly, as the early game is way more important and getting that extra armor will bolster Nid's early power. Like most of the previous changes though, this buff won't significantly propel Nidalee into meta for the majority of ranks, and we will be leaving her in the jungle A tier. For a champion that has been the most OP pick in the entire game for multiple patches in a row, we definitely expected a little more out of these Jarvan nerfs. Q damage is down by 10 at all ranks, and his AD growth is going from 3.4 to 3. Riot did note that they don't want to see a drastic shift in meta heading into MSI, and these Jarvan changes definitely won't push him out of meta. Similar to the previous Malphite changes, we see Jarvan remaining an OP carry, just now on the same level as a few other solo queue junglers. A few minor nerfs to Kayn are penciled in this patch, with his Shadow Form E cooldown being increased from 8 to 9 seconds. Shadow E bonus movement speed is down as well, from 80 to 70%. Pretty insignificant changes in the grand scheme of things, and they don't even hit Red Kayn at all, so we expect his overall power level to remain in a good spot for 13.8, and we'll be leaving him in the jungle S tier. Jungle tier list looks quite similar to last patch, with a few champs shuffling around. Due to Jarvan being nerfed, he will no longer have control of the OP tier, as Fiddle and Evelynn will be moving back up to join him. One jungler to watch in 13.8, more commonly played in the top lane, but just as much of a threat in the jungle is Poppy. Buffs are great for Poppy jungle too, and she's such an underrated answer to meta junglers like Lee Sin and Jarvan. Poppy is such a great pocket pick to have available, and if you want to learn more about her, our Challenger Jungler BMX Specs has a brand new full game commentary for you guys on our website. The low elo gods of jungle this patch are Fiddlesticks, Mordekaiser, and Jarvan. Highest on our ban list include Evelynn, Kayn, and Jarvan. Aurelion Sol has continued to dominate solo queue in recent patches, especially in the lower ranks, so Riot has a few nerfs to combat his power level. Both changes are scaling nerfs to his health and armor growth, which are aimed at reducing the champ's power more so for the lower ranks where games drag out much longer. The theme around most of the changes this patch have been that they're all quite filler and don't actually do a whole lot, and that's what we are expecting here once again. Aurelion Sol will not be moving anywhere on the mid lane tier list, sticking in A tier for 13.8. That small Aurelion Sol nerf is literally the only mid lane change for 13.8 if you don't count the Cosmic Drive adjustment. As a result, the OP tier remains intact, with Annie and Pantheon leading the way. The main focus around 13.8 for mid lane will be which champions end up the biggest winners from the Cosmic Drive adjustments. Who knows, maybe the changes won't actually do anything and the item will continue to be super niche, but hopefully we get some new item paths that emerge. Let us know who you think will come out on top in the comments below. Best low elo mid laners for 13.8 are Veigar, Malzahar, and Annie. Annie, Zed, and Fizz are who we see as the highest priority mid lane bans. Let's move on to breaking down the ADC changes. First up, starting with Ezreal. Base AD is going from 60 to 62. Buff will likely add about 1% to Ezreal's overall win rate, but that won't be enough to push him back into the solo queue meta. Ez will remain in the ADC B tier for 13.8. An ADC that will probably never fully come back into meta, but who Riot will be pushing for in 13.8 is Kog'Maw. Passive damage is up from 125 scaling to 550 to 140 scaling to 650. Q cooldown is being reduced from 8 to 7 seconds. E mana cost is down from 60 scaling to 100 to 40 scaling to 100. Finally, E slow is up from 20 scaling to 52% to 30 scaling to 50%. At first glance, you may ponder at whether AP Cog could make a comeback due to these buffs, but we can't really see it. E power is going to be the exact same at max rank, and it's the spell you max out first on AP Cog. So although his early game will be slightly stronger, the mid to late game will be exactly the same. ADC Cog, on the other hand, will be liking these buffs a little more, as E was buffed at rank 1, and it's the spell he maxes out last. Despite his low play rate, Cog really hasn't been a terrible ADC in recent patches, and as a result of these buffs, he's going to be a really great S tier option moving forward. ADC tier list is looking quite similar to last patch, with Jinx staying on top as the #1 solo queue ADC. The best low elo bot lane carries are Tristana, Misfortune, and Veigar, as they're all very simple to play but very effective at the same time. With Jinx being as prominent in meta as she is, she's the best ADC ban right now, while Xayah and Draven are two other worthwhile options as well. Alistar has got to hold some sort of record for most amount of changes in a single season, as he's being buffed again in 13.8. This time, his R duration is going from 7 to 8.5 seconds. Riot continues to chip away and give Alistar these very minor buffs in hopes that they finally add up and push him into meta. This change will propel him closer to S tier, but we don't see it being enough to push him up, so we'll be leaving the cow in A tier for 13.8. A support that definitely does not need buffs right now, but will receive 3 of them in 13.8 is Janna. W damage is being increased by 10 at all ranks. AP ratio on W is up from 50 to 60%. E decay delay is up from 1.25 to 2.5 seconds. This E change is actually kind of sad to see, because even though it's a buff, it kind of removes a bit of the skill expression that goes into playing Janna. Now that the decay delay is 2.5 seconds, you can be a lot less precise with your timing of the spell, and it gives your ADC a longer window where they can look to trade. These honestly might be the most impactful buffs of the entire patch for a champ that doesn't even need buffs in the first place, and we will be seeing Janna back in the S tier as a result. Leona has been a very mediocre support for a long time now, so a few buffs are being issued this patch. W bonus armor and magic resist is being increased by 10 at all ranks, while W magic damage is also up by 10 at all ranks. With how Leona has been performing in previous patches, these buffs will make her a good support for 13.8, but nothing more than that, which lands her a spot in the A tier. And the final support change this patch is going to be a champ who's in much need of a nerf, being Rakan. A bit disappointing to see the nerfs are very light though, with his base armor going from 32 to 30 and armor growth down from 5.1 to 4.9. That's the story of this patch, isn't it? Another set of changes that don't actually do anything in shifting the champion's power level. As a result, Rakan will maintain his OP tier status in 13.8. Looks like Riot is trying to milk as many skin sales as they can out of Emilio, as he will continue dominating the support meta alongside Rakan, Senna, and Blitzcrank. The optimal low elo carries from the support role include Emilio, Annie, and Zyra. Annie and Zyra are both amazing pure carry options, while Emilio is the premier protector support. As for the support bans, Rakan, Thresh, and Emilio are all great options due to how much they're being played in the current meta. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about skillcapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there you have it guys, a complete look at the solo queue meta for every single role as we head into patch 13.8. Thank you all so much for watching, good luck on the Rift, and we'll see you in the next one.